Welcome back. We now continue our conversation with Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. Diaz is a national surrogate for Hillary Clinton, and as we mentioned for the break, when she came to New York, she rode the Ford train with him. Obviously, the Latino vote's going to be critical in this presidential election.
Yes.
I'm curious,
Yes.
how does he think she's doing, obviously, with 50-something days left?
Well, you know, Richard, we have to think about this for a second. I'm glad you asked that question. Most folks don't seem to know that in New York City, Ruben Diaz is the highest elected Latino official supporting Hillary Clinton. He is strongly against Donald Trump, but his advice is do not take anything for granted. Well, Hillary Clinton is back on the campaign trail tonight. When she came to New York, she came to the Bronx and rode the Ford train with you. Borough President, how do you explain the fact, though, that Hillary Clinton has not been able to finish off Donald Trump?
Well, let me just say this, that first of all, Hillary Clinton has been a friend of mine and many people of the Bronx, elected officials, and throughout the state of New York. We've known her and supported her husband when he first ran for president. We supported her when she ran for U.S. Senator, served us well, especially during 9/11 when Washington, D.C., after that, wanted to shortchange New York. She fought for $20 billion to be brought into New York State. Then as Secretary of State, I think that she's been doing a phenomenal job. She will be the most qualified individual of any candidate in the history of our country that has run for the presidency of the United States. So to have her decide with all the places that she can go to come to the Bronx, to highlight the wonderful things that are happening in the Bronx, to come and take a train ride, to see the looks on the faces of the people on that train, to see the energy and enthusiasm. And that was sort of like the kickoff of her New York campaign, because we knew that Bernie Sanders was drawing huge crowds. That for me was humbling. It was an honor. She's a friend. She put the Bronx on the map, and that's why we've been so supportive of her. In terms of Donald Trump, what your viewers should understand is that we should not take this lightly, and Hillary does not. The Secretary of State does not. Unfortunately, he speaks to a sentiment that's out there. It's ugly, it's disgusting, it's divisive, it's full of hate. His rhetoric is one where it insults women, it has insulted Latinos, it has insulted Muslims. He has even insulted Gold Star parents, parents who have lost their child at war defending our freedoms and liberties. So unfortunately, even though this is the best country in the planet, we have to contend with the fact that there is an element out there. There's a group of people out there that Donald Trump and his candidacy and his rhetoric speaks to. So we never said it was going to be easy. That's why they call it a race. And it's the reason why we work so hard for her. It's the reason why we're going to continue to campaign for her. But ultimately, when it's all said and done, I think people are going to welcome the most qualified individual, the one with the best temperament, the one who is the most fit to be the commander-in-chief, and that's Hillary Clinton.
I close this way, Mr. Borough President. Do you think that New Yorkers, as it relates to Donald Trump, are saying to the rest of the world, is this a joke in terms of about Trump, people that know him, New Yorkers, are you serious?
No, I think, to be honest with you, Dominic, I think initially people thought it was a joke. They didn't know that he was going to dispose of, 16, 17 other candidates in the primary. There were many folks who thought that he was doing this because he just wanted to increase his marketing abilities or his brand. But I don't think, as a matter of fact, I know that people are no longer taking this as a joke. This is very serious. This is somebody who's unhinged. When people are going to make the decision as to who's going to represent us to the global stage, who's going to be the commander-in-chief, who's going to have the codes to the buttons, people are afraid. People are starting to understand that we cannot trust this man. He may be a brilliant businessman. He may be a good husband and father. He may be a good friend to some, but he is not representative of our values, and he certainly is not fit to be president of the United States.
I know what he said, Dom. He told you probably 4 years from now when de Blasio is termed out, unless he pulls a Bloomberg, assuming he even wins next fall. But if things keep going from bad to worse, and as we've talked, it's been a bad few months here for de Blasio, do you get the sense that Diaz really will sit it out next fall or no?
I'm glad you asked that. Reading between the lines of what Mr. Diaz said to us in our sit-down interview, he's looking for that crack. He's looking for an opening that can justify a run. Because remember, he can't run for both jobs, one or the other. And I just want to say, Richard, Mr. Diaz is in a unique situation because most officials have 2 terms, but when Bloomberg pushed through the term limits thing, those that came in with Bloomberg were already in office, you get 3 terms. So I think he wants to play it safe, but he's leaving his options open.
And obviously our attention for this November, but in New York political circles, everybody's already starting to line up between now and next fall. Dominic, thank you very much. All right, coming up next, everybody, we'll take a look at some local headlines. Please stay with us.